The Gulag system, a vast network of Soviet forced labor camps and colonies where Soviet leadership would send criminals, political prisoners, prisoners of war, disloyal minority groups, and the math teacher that gave a party official too much homework in high school.
What is the charge? Get your hand off my penis!
The gulags were infamous for their harsh work conditions, the cruelty of the guards, and high mortality rate of prisoners. But not all gulags were created equal. There are many types of gulags with different kinds of labor and varying work conditions. I'm here to answer the question that literally nobody asked. Which of these gulags was the best one you could possibly be sent to as a prisoner?
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did!
Which of these camps was like a gulag vacation? Which camp could you be sent to that was the equivalent of winning the lottery when compared to the overall horrors you could possibly endure? I use the term vacation because, like a vacation, your stay in any particular gulag camp is likely temporary. The majority of gulag camps were, in fact, temporary, built to complete a specific project like build a railroad, build a factory, or clear a forest. Most of the permanent camps were simply transit camps where you would toil until you're assigned to a labor camp where you're forced to moderate an anime gamer Discord for 3 years until the head admin is inevitably exposed for grooming minors. If you look at a map of gulags in the Soviet Union, you'll think to yourself, wow, a lot of these camps are in really cold places. And of course, a significant cause of prisoner deaths would be exposure to horrendous cold in the frozen wastes of places like Siberia or Karelia. On account of the climate, we can eliminate camps that are in these places. While we're at it, any camp in a particularly harsh environment in general is not an ideal place to be worked to death. I can already feel some people watching this that think they're so smart and know the answer.
What about camps in places the Germans occupied during World War II? Those camps would be the best to be in because of the liberation potential.
Well, the problem here is that the Soviet NKVD killed the prisoners as the Germans advanced. Don't you look foolish? Speaking of Germans, being in a gulag made for prisoners of war were probably some of the worst you could be in. If you thought the Soviets treated their own citizens badly, imagine how they're treating the citizens of countries they were at war with. So now, we can eliminate prisoner of war camps in any places that fell under Axis control in World War II that had the massacre hazard for the prisoners. I think we're making good progress. My next criteria is going to be wholesome, not because of the unrelenting torment and suffering experienced by humans, but wholesome because I'm gonna teach you interesting little facts about the administrative organization of the gulags. Hold up! If you're liking this video so far, subscribe so you can consume more of my content. Thank you. While the term gulag is a catch-all term for Soviet forced labor camps, Gulag was a government agency, and its literal meaning in English is the Chief Directorate of Collective Labor Camps. Gulag had many sub-agencies for specific projects or to handle prisoners of other agencies. There were camp directories for the BAM Railway, the White Sea-Baltic Canal, the NKVD, Administration of Internal Affairs, People's Commissariat of Arms, etc. But the kind of camp I feel you have your best shot at is one of the most common camps in the Gulag system. In Russian, the abbreviation is ITL, which simply means Corrective Labor Camp. ITL camps were some of the most general kinds of work. Factory labor, construction, logging, even things like fishing and agriculture. On top of that, ITL camps are fairly low on the totem pole in terms of punishment from the perspective of the Soviet government. If some maulding commissar was more worried about you, he would send you to some horrible NKVD-run camp where you would be subject to 6-hour-long nightly interrogations. The fun part about nightly interrogations is that you still worked during the day. You'd be lucky to get a half hour of sleep while the NKVD was up your ass every night. Sometimes literally. If you were a prisoner in an ITL camp, there was nothing more the government wanted from you except back-breaking, soul-crushing hard labor. The criteria is in place. It is time to make a decision. What parts of the USSR have the best climate for work? I thought about it, and I would have to go with the Caucasus region. The climate here is so pleasant that the Soviet government built lots of workers' resorts in this area. However, some of the camps down here were for prisoner of war labor. Bad time. or operated during the Soviet famine in the early 1930s where prisoners died off in large numbers from malnutrition. Or they operated in the mid to late 30s where the Great Purge led to severe overcrowding and massacres of Gulag prisoners. Now we only have a few gulags left. Let me think for a moment. Yes! Yes! Yes, I have it! The best gulag you could have been sent to is ITL Stroitselvo 107 in the Azerbaijani SSR, which was opened from November 1940 to January of 1942. The camp's purpose was to build a railway line from Salyan to Neftchala. Listen, building a railroad is not easy work, but there are far more dangerous jobs you could be doing, like mining or logging. It was a tough choice, but I made my final decision based on some criteria that I had kept hidden from you. I deliberately left it as a mystery to keep you complacent. I'm already on the run. I ran away from my work detail when I kept icing the guards until they passed out from nearly fatal alcohol consumption. Yes, the mystery criteria is escape potential. Since this camp was working on a railroad, your location was dynamic, and you could not be constrained to an easily guarded camp when you were actually working on the rail itself. There may have been more opportunities to escape based on the terrain and the surroundings around the railroad as well. Additionally, this camp is less than 70 kilometers away from Iran, a country that was in complete chaos after the Anglo-Soviet invasion in August of 1941. While the Soviets did maintain a military presence in northern Iran during the war, it was to protect a supply corridor for Lend-Lease, leaving the countryside wide open to escape, as the actual Iranian police and military was severely weakened. From there you could venture further on into non-occupied Iran, neutral Turkey, or even just wait it out. There was a lot of anti-Soviet sentiment in Iran at the time because of the invasion and regular Soviet confiscation of the harvest in the regions they occupied. So you would eventually run into some Iranians who were willing to take you in to spite the Soviets. Of course, the chances of you actually escaping are still very small. There was a 99% chance the camp guards would just shoot you as you ran away. Seriously, you can't even run a 10-minute mile under ideal conditions, let alone as a forced labor prisoner suffering from malnutrition and chronic joint pain. Did you actually expect to outrun the Gulag guards? I couldn't find a lot of information about what happened to Zoitsevo 107 after they had completed their task, but it seems like they were part of some sort of greater Stalingrad ITL labor camp system. So if you were sent to Stalingrad during the battle, I think you have a lot of opportunities there to either escape, hide, or perhaps even redeem yourself in some sort of penal battalion. You know, I'm a bit of an optimist at my core. I see the largest battle in human history with millions dead and wounded, and I see the good things. I see an opportunity. That might just be me, though. My decision on the best gulag to be in was not made using an exact science or anything like that, but I didn't see anyone else putting in the work here, until Mr. Beast builds a replica gulag and sends 1,000 lucky subscribers into forced labor for a chance to win 1 million Latvian potatoes if they escape. The world will never truly know how hard it is to actually escape a gulag. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a like, comment, maybe even a little subscribe action, and I'll be back soon with another one.